Welcome to the Smart Property Investment Show, the podcast by investors for investors.
G'day, how you going? Phil Tarrant, host of the Smart Property Investment Show. Welcome back to the studio as we get stuck into our regular discussion around finance. We all know how critical finance is to driving property purchases, and property investment is as much a game as finance, as locating and securing the right properties. Joining me back in the studio, our finance expert, regular guest, Eva Loisance, who's the principal over at Finni Mortgages. She's back to give us a sense of what's going on in and around lending, and we're sort of looking down the barrel now, and I think this podcast will come out prior to it, of a rate announcement in about a week today or tomorrow. So we'll see what takes place. If you asked us a month or so ago, it was like, no way, there's not going to be any cuts. But there's already some rumblings around there that it is being considered. So we'll have more on that later as we get closer to that rate announcement, a little bit outside of the scope today. But what I wanted to do today is pick up a bit of a discussion. And if you've been listening to property podcasts for however long, and there is a myriad of property podcasts out there now. We've been doing this for about 10 years or so. So we've pretty much covered every single topic we can in and around property investment. What you would find, though, is that a regular recurring theme would be to, leverage the right professionals around you to make sure you're making the right decisions. Yes, you need to be driving that. Nevertheless, you need to be surrounding yourself with people who are much more capable than you are and have a different skill set to support property investing. And that might be obviously your mortgage broker. You'll have financial planners and accountants and conveyancers and lawyers and buyers agents, pest and building people, all and sundry, all those people that provide the advice right across this. And that's a foundational aspect I see is at the heart of all property investors. But just because you're paying for advice doesn't necessarily mean that that advice is always the right advice for you. It might be well-intended, but inappropriate for your specific needs. It might be, one-size-fits-all type advice where you just go to someone and they recommend the same thing for all of their clients, which might not necessarily be with you. There might be some ethical breaches as well, where the advice that you're getting is not conducive to the regime in which these professionals operate in and around. And property over many years has been the home of maybe some less than ethical operators, and I've been in and around property investment for nearing 20 years, and there's always a dodgy property spruiker out there who is doing something which isn't appropriate. They get found out eventually, but often they take a lot of people down with them. You get a lot of charming, charismatic people in and around property investment who all will tell you a really good story, and there's some very good salesmen in and around salespeople in and around property investment as well. So you need to be, it is sometimes swimming with sharks out there. I don't want to sort of talk it up too much and be too much of a doomsday merchant, but can be tough out there and you don't know who to trust. So you need to make sure that the people you work with are the right people for you. And if it's not right, I would recommend you seek other advisors. Eva, you must see this because you normally get pulled into working with other advisors as part of this, and maybe you can give a sense for, and not all advisors or professionals in and around property investment need to be. There's different layers of compliance and education and standards that they need to abide by. An accountant, for example, will have a university degree, and often they will have gone and done postgraduate work as a CPA or CA or an IPA, and that's towards a sort of higher end of probably educational standard. Financial planners, again, need to operate under a specific regime. Mortgage brokers need to operate under a specific regime, not only from an education point of view, but ethical best standards. But then on the other side, you've got a whole bunch of other professionals in and around property investment that don't really need to have the same standards. So it's a tough one. So what's the basis of how mortgage brokers operate? What do you need to do to be a mortgage broker, and what are the standards?
Well, sadly, not much.
Okay.
So all you actually need at this stage is a certificate in finance mortgage broking and a membership to FBAA or MFAA, which is like a body. So
Mortgage Finance Association Australia and the Finance Brokers Association Australia.
Which technically I think I did my Cert 4 in 4 days.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So then you can do a diploma. Now the MFAA is offering more. But really, you don't need much to be a broker, and you could be a client speaking to somebody that literally have no idea.
So when you do your Cert 4 and then become a member, you can start operating as a broker straight away, or do you need to operate under an experienced broker to do an apprenticeship?
You technically need a 2 years membership, mentorship.
Yeah.
Which, from memory, is not really.
It's just a box ticking exercise sometimes.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So the point then is that your broker might not be that skilled.
Your broker might not be that skilled at all.
Yeah.
And it's sad for me to say it because I would want to see it as a profession where people have a certain amount of education and understanding of not just broking but everything around it.
Yeah.
But it's not like that.
Okay. And does that frustrate you? That
much so.
You
I think you can tell.
that you don't have brokers all operate because you're well educated. You've got a legal degree. And there's a lot of very highly qualified mortgage brokers out there who have chosen broking as maybe a second career and they've come out of it different. So, I know many brokers with really high educational standards, but there's also it's not a huge barrier to entry.
No, there's not.
But you have to operate under certain governing principles as a mortgage broker, like best interest.
Yeah. So
what's that?
So it used to be. It's good that's changed. So before, I think it came into place in 2021. Best interest duty. Before that, all you had to do as a broker was to put your client in a product that was not unsuitable, not
unsuitable.
Not unsuitable. The word is not suitable.
Yeah.
Not unsuitable.
Okay.
So really, you could put someone anywhere as long as it's not completely non-unsuitable for them. It was fine.
Okay.
Which was very, not good enough.
Yes.
And then thank God it changed since Jan 2021, delayed by COVID. We've got now best interest duty, and we have to act in the best interest of our client, not our best interest, which sometimes you think brokers can mix up a little bit. And so we have to really place the client in the product that is the most suitable to them and in the best interest. And we have to explain, we have to provide a document on why this is the best for them. It could be because of the rate, could be because of evaluation, could be because they need an approval tomorrow, it could be because whatever.
Okay, so there's a lot of things that would be assumed to be the most suitable, and that's going to be specifically based on the needs of the
client.
Okay, so if the client needs a loan tomorrow,
yes,
the most suitable loan might
not be the cheapest.
But the most suitable loan is going to be the one that they can get tomorrow.
They can get tomorrow.
Yeah, okay,
that's right.
All right, and if they're just looking for the cheapest rate possible, then that would help guide. And that might take 3 months to get through, but if that's what they want and they have the time, then that's in the best interest. That's in the best interest, okay. And every now and then you we haven't seen it for a little while, but you get these stories coming through the papers which will say that mortgage brokers always put their clients into the loan that pays them the highest commission. Mortgage brokers are more expensive than going directly to the bank because the bank needs to pay the mortgage broker. Be careful of mortgage brokers. You see these stories coming through. We haven't seen them for a while, but it's a cycle where some journo who doesn't really know what's going on or hears something or write this story and they'll beat up brokers again. 75% of all home loans are now done through mortgage brokers. So irrespective of the fact that the banks would rather people go direct, Australian consumers, investors want to actually use a mortgage broker. So, there is governing aspects that should really shape the habits and the behaviours of brokers, but there's still some stuff that goes on. In the background, always
would be. There are lenders and banks that pay a higher percentage commission upfront.
Yeah,
I couldn't even tell you which one because it's not a big difference anyway. And again, we have to disclose that to our clients.
Yeah.
So really, if they're not happy with that, I think you're getting too much with this one. And my best interest is make sure the broker gets the least amount of commission. Well, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
That's what they want as top priority.
It's only a very few. It's largely standardised. And so how mortgage brokers are paid, they get a percentage of
so it's, let's say, between 0.62 and 0.75% of the loan amount.
Of the
net loan amount.
Okay, so
if you've got money in your offset,
yeah,
net.
from the start. So if you don't draw down the whole amount, you only get that bit. And then you get an ongoing trial commission. The idea is that you're working with and alongside the consumer to ensure that their mortgage is still right and appropriate. Okay, so that's all good, and that's pretty standardised. But operating in and around the mortgage broker space, and I see this, and you see this, there's some ethical breaches that do take place that you probably want to be aware of. And I don't want to sort of overcook this for investors, but if you see this sort of stuff, you've got to question it. We'll get into that. We'll just go to a quick break beforehand. Stay with us back in a moment. G'day, Phil Tarrant here. Before we get back to the Smart Property Investment Show, I want to share something important. Yeah, that's right. They got me doing adverts now. But seriously, as an investor myself, I know how critical finance is. For years, I've struggled to find a consistent solution that supported my property investing journey. That's why I was part of setting up Finni. Finni's a mortgage broking business built exclusively for property investors. They understand the complexities, they deal with investors, and no matter how tricky your finance needs are, they've got the expertise to make it happen. So if you want to get finance ready and invest the right way, make sure you're backed by the right broker. Talk to the team at Finni Mortgages and find out how the right finance strategy can help improve your investment outcomes. You can book a consultation today. Visit finni.com.au. That's FINNI.com.au. Welcome back. Phil Tarrant, host of the Smart Property Investment Show with Eva Loisance, principal over at Finni Mortgages now. 99% of brokers are good brokers.
I would want to think so.
And they've certainly had a coming of age mortgage broking over the last 20 years. It was, 20 years ago it was a bit more of a Wild West. Now it's a professional sector, and there's a good reason why 75% of all borrowers are using mortgage brokers to secure their loans, but stuff still goes on. That in the background. One is undisclosed referral fees or kickbacks.
Yes.
So clients are unaware that recommendations may be financially motivated, not in their best interest.
Yes.
So what happens here?
So that's very common. So clients come to me and might be new to investing, and will say, well, do you know an accountant? Do you know a financial planner? Do you know a buyer's agent that I should be using?
Yeah.
So Finni doesn't take any kickback for anything. So if we give you a buyer's agent's name or accountant, financial planner, whatever it is, we recommend it because we think they would be the right fit for the client. Now, there are, and that's completely legal, no problem. There are instances where you would send your client to a buyer's agent and they would give you a spotting fee.
Okay.
A few $1,000s if you bring me
like
a client.
Referral fee,
yeah. Which is fine. That's not an issue. The issue is if I get one that gives me $3,000 and another 3 that don't give me $3,000, if I give a client, I will potentially, if I'm not really ethical, send all of my clients to that person that would give me $3,000 every time I find a client. This should be disclosed to the client. They should know, well, I give you this name, but if you proceed, I will receive some money. I don't think that is disclosed very often.
You don't think it's disclosed?
I don't think it's disclosed at all very often.
Yeah, and if you're signing agreements, say with a buyer's agent, this should all be inside of their.
It should be, but look, I don't think it's
doesn't happen as much
so.
as it should do.
No,
and this is and this it's just not.
It's not an issue of doing it. That's legal.
Yeah,
it's the issue of not disclosing it, and then obviously having client thinking, oh, she thinks buyer's agent A is the best, but it's actually because I'm getting money out of it.
Yeah, and this is the challenge in that. And it's just not within property investment. It's like all professional services or most industries have referrals, right? It's where it's an ecosystem where people support each other by referring business for the purpose of people driving new business, and it's largely okay. Specifically within property investment, the onus is on. It should just be disclosed, and if there's full disclosure, that means people can make that decision. They might say, okay, well, I know, XYZ is going to get a referral fee for this person here referring me to that. As long as you know about it.
As long as you know, that's
then
fine.
you can actually make the call. And this is Pippa with a professional property investment professionals of Australia. Their big thing was you just got to disclose this stuff. If you don't disclose it, why aren't you disclosing it? Therefore, if there must be something on towards. Just going, I don't want my client to know about it. That's not very cool. Yeah,
and it happens a lot for. We mentioned a few podcasts before. Of the plan units, home and land packages, and I think they don't want that to be disclosed because obviously a huge amount of that fee is built in the price that clients would pay.
Yeah, okay.
And then they look like not really what people want to do. Again, there's very ethical one, but often if it's not disclosed, you might wonder why.
Yeah, and you need to assume people are operating ethical and ethically. It's when you find out subsequent to the fact is when you feel as though you've been a bit hard done by and you start scrutinising. And it does take place. Other areas where brokers might not be as ethical as they can be, and whether or not ethics is black or white. Remember when I was doing some postgraduate, I was doing some postgraduate courses at the University of New South Wales, and we had to do a whole course on ethics. And I was sitting there going, well, why don't you do a whole semester on ethics? Like, you just operate ethically. And then some of the reasoning that people had, I went, oh, this is why they actually teach this course.
That's why you actually need.
Yeah. I remember specifically someone saying, yeah, you just be unethical to the point where you can get big enough so you can start being ethical. And I remember just sitting there just going like,
oh my God.
blew my mind. I was like that was their ethics. And I was like, it's okay. Wow. It's okay to do it for as long as you can get away with it to a point where you can stop operating ethical. So be careful.
Where is that person now? In jail? Okay.
But it just wasn't that. It was like something. I was just sitting there just going, I don't understand like how people can think this way. But like cherry picking lenders for commission, not suitability. So prioritising trailer upfront. You mentioned that. Like I don't know how many brokers do that these days.
Look, I think it's not. It's not a huge difference, but it used to be that if you would send a huge amount of volume to one lender, they would start paying you more.
Yeah, okay.
So that didn't happen. And there's also lenders that let you choose the commission you charge to your client.
Okay.
So that obviously...
Would that be for like more out-of-the-box type stuff?
Yeah. But obviously if that's the case, someone might choose to go somewhere else and
it can
charge
happen
a
with
higher
commercial
fee.
as well. Like
Especially with commercial lending.
You actually put your own thing in and it's part of it. So as long as you know.
As long as you know. And you're happy to pay the fee, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you know if it's happening? Like, how would you know that a broker potentially is putting you down a particular pathway which might be more beneficial for them rather than you?
I think people just, and I see it, and they don't ask many questions. I think there's so much trust in between, I guess, my clients and myself. Like often, they don't even question. So if you think something is happening, you should ask, okay, what's the commission you're getting on this? Why you refer me to this person? Why this lender over this one?
Yeah.
And it should be enough of an explanation, not just, they're right. And which really we have to give clients a credit proposal disclosure before we
start the process.
And it's a huge amount of information that is in there on why I pick bank A over bank B for you. If that's not given to you, start asking questions.
Yeah, but the issue is that most brokers will provide that because they have to provide it. Most people don't read it. They just go, the broker's doing the right thing. I'll just sign it. There we go.
Well, then if you don't know why you've been put in that bank.
Yeah, it's you.
You should know why.
You've got to take responsibility
you should
for
know
it. Yeah. What about sort of misleading advertising or too good to be true offers? Unrealistic expectations it creates. It still happens, right?
Yeah, it still happens. And I do get clients, not often, coming and say, look, I went to a broker. They said we would do this. We applied for a loan. It said they would be all right. And then they got declined or I didn't get the rate I wanted. And I think there's a hope there for the brokers to be like, once it's done, even if it's a higher rate, higher fee, it's done. So they would just go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And that's not on either. You just if it's not going to work with a prime lender and you have to go to a second or third tier with a higher rate, we know up front.
Yeah,
we know that.
You know pretty quickly. Yeah. Like, yes, it may take time, but you know pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I feel like once the clients have lodged all their documents, put time with somebody, they're like,
Yeah, there you go. What about and you're seeing a little bit more of this referrers. So, whatever your trusted referrer is, a financial planner or accountant, whoever it is, steering clients towards brokers who, inverted commas, make deals happen, regardless of compliance. So, hey, I know someone I know a broker that can get this over the line for you. So, which encourages bending responsible lending rules or best interest duty obligations. So, if you hear that going, I've got a guy or got someone that, they'll get this through for you. Don't worry about it. Sweet, yeah. Is that a red flag? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it means that maybe their compliance a bit.
Yeah, sometimes we've had turned clients away when they're telling us, oh, my accountant told me I could just say to the bank, I live with my parents, or I can get a letter here, or I just do this, and then you should just say that.
So
No.
you compromise your broker by doing that. So you're asking your broker to lie.
Pretty much.
Which is...
And they're very upfront with them.
Yeah. Most brokers will go, I can't, no.
And maybe some broker will be like, yeah, whatever, I'll just do it.
Yeah, I can get the deal done.
You can get the deal done.
Yeah, I get the deal done. I can make it happen. Yeah, just, it's fraud.
It's fraud. Yeah.
Call it out what it is. It's fraud, you know.
Yeah. There is times we don't know, and I've had a client telling me, I think I told you that they didn't have kids and I couldn't hear kids.
Yeah.
On the phone every time.
Yeah. Did you say you got kids? No, I don't.
Yeah, the Medicare card didn't have kids, and tax return didn't show kids. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, you don't want to be complicit in fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the issue, because if you know, you know. You cannot not know if you know someone's being fraudulent and or maybe stretching the truth a little bit, right? Like, it's so don't ask your broker to do it. Like, this is it. But again, if you're happy to go to these people who, inverted commas, make things happen, well, that's up to you how your sort of ethical spectrum sits on those type of things. You also sort of see pressure to use in-house services, so use our conveyancer, use our buyer's agent, which isn't necessarily always the right.
Yeah, and I feel really sorry for our clients or our potential client in that space where clients use, I don't know, a buyer's agent or an accountant, whatever they are, and they've got the whole suite of service. Very often that's one size fits all type of service, and they're all getting the exact same loan, the exact same advice, the exact same type of property, regardless of their situation. And very often is if you start there and you refuse to go or don't want to go with one of the service, they put you in the back burner, or it's not happening. Or if you actually do choose to go with the buyer's agent and accountant, they actually put you in a quicker queue.
You can be deprioritized or prioritized depending on how big your share of wallet is.
Yeah.
And the people who you use in order of sort of shaping your property investment journey, they should certainly be open to working with other professionals if they deprioritize you as a client because you're not using their other stuff.
And that, unfortunately, I see a lot.
Do you?
I do.
And do they apply pressure going, I don't know, they're no good, don't use them, use our guy?
So the excuse is we've got a strategy that works for our clients. We want to make sure the brokers you're using understand that strategy, even though the strategy is the same for everybody.
Yeah.
And they literally would force clients, okay, well, if you don't use our brokers, I can't really help you because you're not going to structure it properly. You're not going to have it on time.
Yeah. And
they go in the back burner. And I've had clients waiting for 6 months on properties just because they're not using.
6 months,
it's a long time.
It's a long time, it's in terms of growth.
So that's, and you should question.
You should certainly question it. But a lot of people that operate some people that operate in and around property, they don't want to be questioned too much, particularly if there's sort of these big shops where
and that's fine. Just run
go
them
through the system.
If they don't answer question, that's a red flag, isn't it?
I see a lot of it. When the occasional times I jump on social media, some of the stuff that comes in my feeds, because it must know I'm sort of in and around property investment, I just sit there just going,
my God.
Oh God. There's some very slick people out there who will tell great stories around stuff, but it's like, it's quite alarming and quite scary. So, so what do you do about all this? Let's get stuck into it. We'll just go to a quick break. So let's back in a moment. Welcome back. Phil Tarrant, Smart Property Investment with Eva Loisance from Finni Mortgages. So I don't want to talk down brokers because by and large, the big majority of them all do the right thing. But we've sort of spoken about a couple of things which should be red flags for you. And depending on who you're working on, sort of outcomes of all this, reduced trust and transparency, we spoke about that. But the financial risk and long-term outcomes are probably the biggest impact, isn't it? If you get this wrong, you can get stuck for a long time. Yeah.
I think the big red flag is here, one size fits all type of advice is the one that you should be careful with, whether it's a buyer's agent or a broker or a lawyer or financial planner.
Yeah.
If a mate recommended you somebody and you're getting exactly the same recommendation, maybe you should think twice. Yeah.
And this is the issue of your loss of autonomy, right? You feel like you were given real options and you've lost control over your decision making. If you just get chucked into a system,
Yep.
you might get stuck in that system, and it's not good if you feel as though you've lost your autonomy.
Yeah. I feel like there's a bit of a conflict of interest as well.
Yeah. And it must annoy good operators, good professionals, that whether they're accountants or lawyers or, buyer's agent, whatever, where it just erodes industry credibility when some rogue operators who might have big sort of awareness or influence through using paid social media to be everywhere, it can really really sort of negatively shape perceptions around stuff, which, back to the point, you see these stories around, inverted commas, dodgy brokers or dodgy accountants or dodgy buyer's agents. They pop into the media every now and then, which the good ones don't necessarily like. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's all profession. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Just
a lot of dodgy journalists out there, a lot of dodgy podcasters,
dodgy everything. Yeah. But I think it's just a reminder. Like, I really want to talk about this to remind people, like, it's okay to ask a question, and if it doesn't feel right, probably it isn't right.
So what sort of question would you ask then? Anyone, if you're using them?
I would just say why.
Yeah.
Why for everything? Why are you recommending this bank? Why should I talk to buyer's agent A? Why do you recommend this solicitor? Why?
So would you say, are you receiving any payment for recommending this service? Just ask them straight out.
Yeah.
If they go, everything's disclosed in our terms and conditions, you probably go,
that I haven't received. Or, yeah.
Yeah. And sort of it's okay to request sort of multiple options and clear comparisons. Like if they go, I don't want to do that, I've already done that.
But we have to. Again, brokers, as best interest duty, we have to provide comparison. At least 3 to each client and explain why we're choosing one over the other. So it's not even okay to request. It's part of our job to provide.
So if you're getting sort of templated advice, that's certainly not tailored advice. That, again, you should just be like,
questioning.
Which might be okay.
Yeah,
like, most people when they start off property investing are all quite sort of similar.
Yeah.
But you really want to probably find brokers or professionals who educate rather than transact.
Yeah, and again, tell you why this bank would be the best for you right now, why you should talk to this buyer's agent, because whatever. Just, I think understand why you're doing things is crucial.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to find yourself with 3 properties and still don't know why you had to buy at this price range in a trust in Whoop Whoop.
In Whoop Whoop. There's other people buying a Whoop Whoop. And if it doesn't feel right, you got to trust those instincts, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
That's it, yeah. It all sounds very simple. But again, people are bewildered when it comes to property investment. You're talking big numbers and, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of confusing information out there. And what I always say to property investors is if you don't understand it, don't do it. Like, it's not that difficult, property investment. If someone's telling you something which is unique and it's got a special formula and this, that and the other, like, they're probably skinning exactly the same thing, which is, what everyone else is following and doing. But if it's really left of field type stuff, you go, it's probably not right. So for those ethical operators, specifically brokers out there, what's better? How can you lead through example?
I think showing people that do educate, and like we do podcasts all the time, we show what we're doing. We've got stories, analysis on what we've done. That gives you an example of, okay, these clients are like this. That's what we recommended. These clients are like this. This is what we recommended.
Yeah.
It's just understanding that in your particular situation, you can't apply everybody's, system.
Yeah. So this is what I see from the best brokers, and I certainly put Finni into this bucket, is that they disclose all their referral relationships up front. They don't wait to be asked for it. They do it even if it's not legally required, and that certainly helps build trust and set standards. But to your point, you prioritise education over conversion. You educate first because you must rather work with the educated
Yeah, and I've
customer.
seen in many podcasts, like, we're happy to just give people a second opinion, review their situation, even if there's nothing happening from that.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'd rather do that than having someone getting stuck with some horrible home loan or...
Yeah. And I think also in terms of leadership, you got to call it out. and you're calling it out here, sort of unethical practices publicly, because it raises the profession and elevates it, right? So it's good to say it, point it out. I'm happy to point it out. But I would say that most people I know that are in and around property that I have a relationship with, certainly, they operate very, very well. But there are certain segments of all subsectors of property investment where they aren't necessarily always doing the right thing. So, yeah, that's always got to be that way. Not a lot you can do about it. You've got regulators trying to continue regulating. You've got all the different industry bodies, whether it's in mortgages or accounting, they have their standards, codes of conduct, and what professionals need to operate within and from. So everyone's sort of working towards it, but still there are certainly people that operate in the grey. So it's up to you as a property investor to actually point that out, and hopefully we're giving you some ways today which to do that. Eva, good to see you.
Okay.
You guys are super busy at the moment. Is it harder to get a loan at the moment because everyone's sort of rushing trying to get this first-time buyer stuff coming through before Christmas?
And before Christmas, yeah.
But you got capacity. You still make stuff happen.
Yep. We've actually had a new broker. He's not a new broker, but he's new to us, starting a month ago.
Oh yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
very good. We might put him on a podcast. So
cool. Bring him in.
Get a bit more.
Yeah.
He does a lot of commercial lending, development. Yep.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
So what's the best way to track down Finni?
Finni.com.au and just book a chat there.
And you can just chat directly with a broker and start today.
Yep.
All right. Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming in. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Remember, smartpropertyinvestment.com.au. We'll see you again next time. Until then, bye-bye.
The information featured in this podcast is general in nature and does not take into consideration your financial situation or individual needs and should not be relied upon. Before making any investment, insurance, tax, property, or financial planning decision, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you. Guests appearing on this podcast may have a commercial relationship with the companies mentioned.